Here is a quote. His unfortunate remarks over the weekend show an utter lack of understanding and appreciation for the people who take a huge personal risk and work endless hours to start a business and create jobs. That scathing statement today from the National Federation of Independent Business, or NFIB, about these comments from President Obama. Listen to this.
I'm always struck by people who think, well, it must be because I was just so smart. There are a lot of smart people out there. It must be because I worked harder than everybody else. Let me tell you something. There are a whole bunch of hard-working people out there. Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we have that allowed you to thrive. Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Well, the NFIB CEO and President, Don Danner, joins us right now. Mr. Danner, good to have you on the program.
Good. Thanks. It's good to be here.
So let's talk about this. First off, your take on these comments.
Well, I think it's a slap in the face of every entrepreneur out there who had a dream, who risked everything he or she had to build a business, who worked 15 hours a day to get to their dream, and now the president says, you didn't build that. They absolutely did.
Well, I mean, I look, if you've got a business, you didn't build that. I suppose, you know, the government, yeah, I guess it created the internet. Al Gore maybe had something to do with that, too. That's neither here nor there, though. But look, tell that to Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, obviously, the creator and founder of Apple. Tell that to Jeff Bezos.
Hundreds of entrepreneurs across the country, I mean, not just the big high-profile guys.
It's hard to take the other side of this, I guess.
It really
is the bottom line, sir.
And I could not agree more. And not everybody works 15 or 16 hours every day. Not everybody is willing to risk everything they have to build a business, to see their dream come true. Entrepreneurs are special people. They're not like everybody else.
So what do you think? I mean, what's behind these comments? What do you think this tells us about the president, about his approach to the economy? I mean, it feels like, you know, it is a slap in the face to entrepreneurs. But, you know, he pointed to government initiatives. He said roads and the creation of the internet as resources used by those people who have become successful, ignoring the fact that these people have taken big risks, you know, raised money, taken their own life in a different path to actually create a business and thus create jobs.
Unfortunately, I think it means that the president doesn't understand that the government doesn't create jobs, individuals do. Real people struggling, risking, working hard, those are the people that create jobs. That's what we need today, or to encourage those people. We don't need more government.
But let's be careful as well, sir, that we're... And I know this is difficult after listening to the quote, but not to take it all sort of out of context and realize that, you know, perhaps the president was caught up in the emotion of a stump speech, if you will.
Well, that wasn't a teleprompter, Scott. Let's not forget that. Right. This was just ad-libbing.
You know, again, as Maria mentions, you know, the government, yes, it's created roads. It's made sure that our schools are better around the country. And try starting a business in Afghanistan or some of these other nations around the world where it's much more difficult. I think those are all fair points. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree, but we hear from people every day that say, try starting a business here in America today, and they think it's getting harder every day, every week to start and grow a business here. Not because the government's helping them, but because the government's making it more difficult for them.
Let me ask you about Mitt Romney. How do you think his approach differs from the president's approach? Tell us how this could lead to different policy decisions.
Well, certainly there's a lot of things. One is on taxes, to start with. We fundamentally don't believe raising the top rate on S-corps and LLCs is going to help create jobs. It's going to cause people in those businesses, small businesses that are LLCs and S-corps, to not invest and to lose jobs. And Governor Romney agrees with that. President Obama believes that raising the top rate doesn't affect business.
Sir, I'd like to get you on the record before we let you go. The NFIB was the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit against the Affordable Care Act, so-called Obamacare, obviously. Would like your reaction given the Supreme Court's decision, and do you have any regrets in pushing the legal process as far as you did?
No, we have absolutely no regrets. And actually on the case that we brought, Under the Commerce Clause, was the individual mandate unconstitutional? The Supreme Court said yes. It was unconstitutional. But then in a quirk of the decision, it said, which individually wasn't the case before, but now it's a tax. And it's not a mandate, it's a tax, and therefore the rest of the law can go ahead.
But with all due respect, I just think you're being a little disingenuous to the ruling itself. They did not say it was unconstitutional. They ruled it was constitutional under a tax. I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah, they ruled it was unconstitutional it was constitutional if you called it a tax.
Right.
But under the Commerce Clause, the mandate was not constitutional. And that creates some new law in terms of the Commerce Clause and what Congress can and can't do.
Right. Okay.
And more tax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Good to talk with you, Mr. Danner. We'll see you soon.
Good to talk with you.
All right, we've got